I wanted to make sure that first off, I had a few moments. I'm going to be introducing Kieran Lawler. However, I wanted to take a few minutes and explain to you why I'm doing this. There were several people, all right? In fact, most of the people I speak to, why do you want to do this? It's hard. People, you're going to be out all the time. Your family, sacrifice. That's true. But if we don't do it, who will? If we look at our elected officials that we have in office today, I'm not going to say names, we know who they are. It's embarrassing. These are the people who want to control our health care. I don't think so. What we're looking at in 2012, since I left the race in 2010, those of you who know me already understand this. In 2010, I stepped aside so John Gomez would have his opportunity. I did not primary. I do believe, and I live by this, the mission is greater than the man. The mission is greater than the man. I was not going to stand in the way of John Gomez's opportunity, but also more importantly, the mission of taking Steve Israel out of office was more important than anything my own personal desires. When I left the race in 2010, what I did make sure to do is to participate in the process. I trained my team. I think that's the colonel in me. I made sure to ensure that we were engaged. Those of us, remember, came to this very place with the fundraiser for Gary Bernstein. So incredibly proud of what we did there. Everything we did not know back then, I made sure we knew now. I expanded the team. We have a full-time treasurer. I hired a full-time consultant, actually Rudy Giuliani's chief of staff. I've expanded with my Tea Party connection as well. I made sure that I brought them on board as well. The knowledge and experience, as well as maintaining these deep-rooted relationships that I had with CSA, with Suffolk 912, expanding our relationships. If we look around this room for a second, I bet you my shiniest nickel that maybe only half the people in this room are from CD2. Judy, where are you from? Nassau County. Connecticut. Anywhere else? Colonel Peterson, who just wanted to say a few words but had to get out of uniform, he actually drove from Washington, D.C. to be here today. If we look around this room and use this, I think the best way to describe it is almost a synthesis candidate that will take the grassroots enthusiasm and motivation of the Tea Party and merge it and synthesize it with the experience, the institutional knowledge, the fundraising base of the Republican Party, the conservative Republican Party, we're going to be a pretty unstoppable force in 2012. Steve Israel is just another politician. It's actually gotten kind of wearisome. Oh, he's going to have all this money. He's got this, he's got that. He's head of the DCCC. I will say this much, that Steve Israel, what he feels actually are his strengths are actually his weaknesses that need to be exposed. And what he feels are my weaknesses are my strengths. That sounds a little unusual, but those are the facts. He is just another candidate. Yes, he has lots of money, but quite frankly, look at every single one of you straight in the eye if I could. It's a little tough. You had a big reception tonight. But he needs every single penny to justify what he's done to this country in the past 6 years especially. He needs that money. As the head of the DCCC, his job is not only to get reelected in Congressional District 2. His job is to interfere with every single election from Maine to Hawaii. His job is to put Nancy Pelosi back in the Speaker's chair. I don't know about anybody here. That's not going to happen. And this is actually, if you're looking at Frank Scatura, Steve Israel will impact your race. And I appreciate your being here today. It means a lot to me. What Steve Israel, his greatest weakness is the fact of who he is. It's nothing personal. However, right now we're going through a renaissance in this country. People are beginning to realize this isn't, look, I understand that this is my campaign kickoff and it's a fundraiser. I get all that. However, this is a renaissance of everybody here in this room. We are all realizing the power that we have here. We discovered it 2 years ago. Actually in a small little place out east with Congressman Tim Bishop, which Suffolk 912 and CSA and other groups participated with. If we don't stand up, and the good people in this room, of which I'm proud to be a part of, do not stand up, we're not going to lose our country. That's an overreach. The United States of America will be here. We're going to lose our national identity. Everything that has made this country the greatest country on the face of the earth, we're going to lose it. I was just online, and the last 2 days, a couple things struck me here. The American people are the engine of prosperity, not the United States government. Couple things here. Normally I don't like speaking with papers in front of me. Obama Solicitor General, if you don't like the health care mandate, make less money. Okay? 30% of U.S. employers are likely to stop offering health insurance once the provision of U.S. health care reform law kick in 2014. 30%. This is in the Washington Post. We're not talking blogs here. We're talking about mainstream media starting to realize the damage that's being done to the identity of this country. President Obama's phony accounting on the auto industry bailout. This is the Washington Post. And then lo and behold, and this is in the last 2 days, General Motors CEO Dan Akerson is insisting that the federal government raise gas taxes by $1, as much as $1, to nudge consumers towards more fuel-efficient cars.
Per gallon.
Per gallon. This is what happens when the federal government becomes involved in the free market. You have specific industries which are considered the favorites. Auto industries. However, if you're in the oil industry, you can have China 5 miles off our coast drilling for oil, but we can't.
Or Brazil.
Or Brazil. However, General Motors, the CEO of General Motors is saying, when did the chief executive officer of GM ever participate in the national energy policy of this country? But he feels it's necessary because he is in a favored status industry-wise of our government. This is not a healthy process for our country. However, like I said, we're all here for a reason. I get it. It's a fundraiser for me, and it's a campaign kickoff for me. I get all that. But what I would say here, candidate aside, I'm going to take that hat off for a minute. Every single one of us has a responsibility to stand up and say, no, no, no. Enough is enough. Those that have bled on the field of honor all across the world did not do so. So General Motors' chief executive officer could dictate national policy. I can pretty much bet my shiniest nickel that there will people be out there as we get deeper into the election, into the process, they'll say, he's just an angry guy. Look at what he's saying, he's angry. You know what I am? And that's okay. Anger, tempered with direction, is a good thing. Don't let anybody say otherwise. I'm running against Congressman Steve Israel because he is the 5th ranking Democrat in their caucus. Is it going to be a tough fight? That's okay. That's okay. As I said before, what he feels are his strengths are going to be his weaknesses. My weaknesses, what he feels, are actually going to be my strengths. He doesn't realize that. I'm developing and building an extremely formidable team to go up against him. And I'm looking for every single one of you. Again, remember, this isn't just CD2. We have people from Connecticut, Washington, D.C., because this race will have national significance. Just think about Steve Israel for a second. He has to, okay, read it. All right. All right, let's not think about Steve Israel for a second. Let's rewind. We just ate. Oops. If we just think about it for a second, all right, that individual and what he's done to this country and his voting record, 94%, 96% with Nancy Pelosi. He is not a moderate. I met Steve Israel on Wallbounds back in 2003. He described himself to me as a Republicrat. A Republicrat. Is that right? And if you look at what he is now, he's obviously spiraled downward to a degree which is beyond any recognition. He needs to go.
He's a Democrat. Yeah.
I don't want, my wife says I'm very wordy, and she's giving me nasty looks, in spite of the flowers. What I'm going to do is conclude with this. Steve Israel is just another politician. He is beatable. With the right team and the right people, he will go the way of the Dukakis and all these other folks who felt they were unbeatable. We can do this. I'm doing my part, or at least I'm trying to. I have great people behind me, reminding me when I don't. And that's exactly what I need. And I'm going to ask every single one of you to stand with me. Stay in touch with the campaign. First of all, thank you for being here. If we look at the number of people we have here tonight, 150 folks, the election is, my goodness, almost 2 years away, a year and a half away. This is extraordinary. I want to thank you all for being here, for being patriots, and for being ready to fight the fight, to stand up and say enough is enough. We will not lose our national identity. At least I'm not going to, and I know Frank will be by my side. Those of us are now willing to stand down to a fight. No, I'll revel in it. I'll actually enjoy it when folks say, look, it's going to be tough. Yeah, okay, I get it. However, if it wasn't tough, it wouldn't be worthwhile. So I revel in the opportunity. I thank you so much. It's such an incredible honor to be here tonight, to be here in front of you, fellow patriots. Thank you very much.